Unbelievable technologies intention to package the whole computer into the form factor which no one could imagine yesterday. It's all about UMPC. My new video is about old and new computer stuff as always, and today I'll try to tell you a story about probably the most ultra-compact UMPC of its time. Behold, Fujitsu loox f-07c. Some of you may know that mobile phone market in Japan is very strange and in some sorts seems like fauna in Australia. I mean some species that are endemics. What is why it's more interesting for us to get to know this outstanding device. 2011 was the year when this hybrid of mobile phone and UPC was introduced to the general public, like a concept model in NTT Docomo smartphones line. NTT Docomo is Japanese mobile operator. Manufacturing was organized by Fujitsu production facilities. My viewers may remember Fujitsu by these videos. Neither before nor after has Fujitsu allowed itself, created anything like that. I found nothing about early stages of development because I don't understand Japanese at all. That's why let's drop the history and get to know our hero. In a basic set, this hybrid came in a very simple cardboard box. The basic set included smartphone itself, data cable, a pile of waste paper being to some sort extent useless, battery, and a headphone cable, which in fact missing in my set. Also, you could buy a dock station that would radically change the capabilities of this device, but we will come back to it later. At first sight, I thought that this device has design that was typically for the end of notice. I'm speaking about slider with keyboard which has several buttons on the sides of the body. It has some sort of attraction. Speaking about its appearance, it seems that the contribution made by engineers is more visible than the one by designers, but we will talk about it soon. Short review of the external set of the device. Display has this resolution and this amount of colors, 4 inches, 10.16 centimeters. Here are some reasons why I think the design of this device takes more from the engineers than from the designers. First of all, if you want to put a lot of different things in such a small body, you should start from the components. Few words about components. In this photo you can see a motherboard. Second point, it's about an indicating light. When x86 system starts, two LED indicators at the bottom light up, and it looks amazing! Also, there is an indicator for notifications, charge and other stuff. The third point, heavy is good. Heavy is reliable. Generally, I think all the design is totally excellent. I'd say it perfect. Some words about ergonomics. When device closed, it's fit very comfortably in a hand. You can use only one finger to hit everywhere on the screen. Screen lock button is created in such a way that it's always near the thumb. When device is open, there are no problems typically for these type of keyboards. It's really easy to type on this keyboard. There is a very handy left mouse button and a really mind-blowing trackball. If you hold this trackball, there will be right click. I got stuck for several minutes just rotating the ball installed in the body. It's very interesting sensation, very addictive. Colors. I should pay attention to colors because it's fantastic. In low light situation, front panel for UMPC seems blue. But if you turn on the light, you'll see that it's shimmering. My first association was a shell or a powder box. There are two CPUs, the first of them is ARM-based. At this moment I cannot find any information about it, but there is some information about a built-in communication model, which I could find based on the chip marking. The second CPU, Intel Atom Z600 family, those base clock 600 MHz. RAM In a mobile system, no data. In Intel system, 124 megabytes. A usable built-in memory is 21.6 gigabytes, so I suspect that the memory chip contains 32 gigabytes. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, BGN. Then UMPC was young. It worked in PC mode approximately 2 hours. Before we talk about operation systems, let's see how this device takes photos. It was okay for the times when it was created, but now I think you understand that the camera cannot take photos like modern flagships. It's largely due to the fact that modern flagships use a lot of software tricks to create best photos ever. Those days mass-market camera phones were created only by Nokia. Saying about this camera, I cannot say that this camera was a revolution or something like that. Just a regular camera, nothing more. Finally, we got to the most interesting parts. Operation systems. As you can understand, there are two of them. One of them very modified Symbian. Modification was so deep that outside Japan it's practically useless. We'll briefly look at it, and after that we will turn to the second system. Former, for people who know nothing, just like me, about the universal Japanese technology, I'll bring you up to the speed a little bit. Relatively digestible Symbian that was created by Nokia, which in its turn managed to develop a relatively good operation system, for its time of course. Well, a market share of 72.8% in the third quarter of 2006 is not a hot air. But no matter what good humanity comes up with, there always be people who come and do nasty things. In this situation, it was MOAP. Why is it bad? Because it's closed platform which doesn't allow launching third-party applications. It's just like first version of iOS, which had no application store. But despite of this seems insanity, there were people who accepted that order of things. Our situation is not so bad because there is one more operation system on this device, and you can try change Windows to something like Ubuntu. From my point of view, Forma works in such a way. There are some built-in software. There is not a lot of it. Barcode reader, recorder, camera, maps which doesn't work outside Japan, pedometer with color counter, Machichara. And if you want more and you have Docomo SIM card, you can connect to the Docomo service and download some extra software. Unfortunately, I'm not in Japan at the moment and I can't check how it works or if it works at all. There is one extra point. Bluetooth works only in Forma mode. Before moving on, it's important to pay attention to the fact that since 2004 in Japan has been working a local mobile payment system, Osaifu Keitai, registered trademark of entity Docomo. As a part of mobile payment, Osaifu Keitai seems like contactless RFID smart card integrated in phone. This technology invented by Sony. Osaifu Keitai can provide more convenient services than plastic Felica card. Mother technology invented in 1988. For instance, it can automatically recharge itself via the internet or provide the latest information. It can also be used as a ticket for airplane or an event by downloading an electronic ticket. Unlike plastic cards, a single Osaifu Keitai phone may accept multiple applications, each equivalent to different cards. It may be used like electronic money provider, member card, airplane ticket, K-card, public fare collection, user authentication, office authentication. Second OS, Travel Windows 7. It's non-modified and this information make me sad. The main thing for this class of devices, unmodified Windows, has been and will be the main problem. Regarding the situation that may happen when your developers are competent and willing to create an amazing mobile PC, you can find on the Steam Deck web page. In this OS there is some extra software. There is a number of applications, but their functionality is limited. So let's move on to something more interesting. As it is fashionable among modern bloggers to say, make it easy with some liquid nitrogen. We're going to overclock this CPU. In fact, when I was talking about the CPU frequency earlier, it could seem low-level. CPU clocks 600 MHz. It's not enough. It's really nothing for Windows 7. Good news, everyone, that there is a way to get back our legitimate megahertz, and in the end we will have our 1200 megahertz. To do this, we should download the old version of Crystal CPU ID and in a couple of mouse clicks increase the boost to 1200. At the same time, our battery will obviously start to consume more, and in my case it will live even 5 minutes. But real overclockers are not afraid of such significant things. Unfortunately, to run anything more complicated than a calculator, you need to do black magic dance, because the graphic driver from Intel traditionally has a number of critical problems. At the same time, you should realize that even with a lot of effort, you can be left with nothing, because in one program graphics will be okay, but in another one it won't. Few words about switching systems. When you turn off the former, Windows will work but without a touchscreen. When making this video, I thought that I would be able to get a dock station somehow, or create an adapter by myself. Unfortunately, both plans have failed, and I can tell the story only by means of pictures snatched from the internet. As a mobile mod, I mean the mode without dock station, we can honestly say that the presence of Windows on board is nothing more than a funny feature. But things go more interesting when we connect the device to the dock station. There are a few words about dock station itself. It allows to connect 4 USB, Type A, HDMI, an additional power supply. It's also important to note that active cooling system is installed in dock station, and it allows to accelerate a weak processor and maintain high frequencies for a long period of time. When we connect an external screen, keyboard and mouse, our here becomes fully functional big computer, but with little capabilities. Here are some conclusions. As a conceptual and extremely compact device, this UMPC is gorgeous, immutable, and it can be a pearl of the collection. But as always, there are some problems in software. For decades, Microsoft has never made life easier for those who use Microsoft products on tablets and UMPCs. Let me remind you that touch input appeared in the commercial products in the early 90s. Intel was always keep its traditions. Insufficient support for already produced hardware. It seems that they produce graphic accelerators for themselves and not for customers. I hope it will slowly start to change in our 2024. Thank you for watching and subscribe.